left hook Volkanovski. Right here.
In the fight game, there's no mercy.
They trade shots.
And still the best featherweight in the world. Too good. Holy
How
shit.
you can't say he's the GOAT?
You can be on top of the world 1 month and completely forgotten the next. And no one understood that better than Alexander Volkanovski.
It's heartless how quickly your life can turn around if you're a guy like Volk. You go from being the man to being dismissed.
At one point, he was untouchable. Pound for pound number 1, undefeated at featherweight, a champion that cleaned out his division and made it look easy. He wasn't just winning, he was dominating, smashing legends, silencing critics.
What now, he says to the broadcast booth.
And when there was no questions left, Alex wanted to chase greatness, so he moved up in weight, almost pulling it off. But then, it all came crashing down. A short notice fight against Islam Makhachev. Brutal knockout.
Oh! That'll do it! And still!
Therefore, 3 months later, still carrying the weight of that loss, he stepped back into the cage and lost again. And just like that, the king was broken.
There's just too many things going against Volk.
But I've accepted reality, all right? I'm gonna gracefully accept that this title reign, this Volkanovski era, is coming to an end.
We are talking about a guy who's had 2 knockout losses in a row like that. If you're gonna fight again at 35 years of age, one of the all-time greats, take time off.
It's gonna be very interesting to see how Volkanovski plays it.
Alex Volkanovski will be taking on number 3 ranked Diego Lopez for the vacant UFC featherweight title.
This is where our story begins, not with his rise, but with his fall. Because to understand who Volkanovski is, you have to see what he's willing to fight through.
If they made a movie about my life, it would start here. I've always lived here. You know, Wollongong, this whole region's pretty big, and I've always been a part of the Illawarra. Being from this sort of area, you know, a lot of people say we're rough and tough type of guys. You know, hard-working community, whether it's just everyone's been playing football their whole life, working in the steelworks, that's all they know. All they know is hard work. It made me tough, it made me who I am, and it made me the fighter I am. I'm that hard-working guy that never gives up, always adapts to whatever's in front of me. No matter how hard it is, I'm going to take it on. And I got pretty much where I live to thank for that.
And for Volkanovski, the road wasn't always clear.
I actually started MMA training as just to keep fit while I was playing rugby league. I played a prop, so that was the front row, and that was my position. You know, that was when I was 214 pounds, so that's something that... So this little powerhouse you see, this cardio sort of machine guy, even on the footy field, I was the type of person that I would just run all day. Give me the ball and I would run. Me being reasonably short, you know, I played a position where people were twice the size of me. Now I fight these featherweights, I look at them and they're tiny. They really are.
Well, I would imagine that just the sheer tenacity and cardio that you would get from rugby. Rugby is a tough sport.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of the drive, a lot of the power, a lot of the contact is the same. You know, it really has helped with my game, and you know, you're seeing that in my fights as well.
Oh, big right hand, and Dale gets his down.
So what made you decide to make a switch to MMA professionally?
Just my last year of football, rugby league. You know, we won the comp. You know, I got player of the match. I scored a 40-metre try, so you can imagine that guy running 40 metres.
Your front rowers, they're supposed to be your big, giant, intimidating guys. We had one of them, and his partner was Alex. And you could almost hear the crowd laughing, like, is this your front rower? Where's the rest of him? Probably about 20, 25 minutes into the game, both their front rowers were done there. And Alex was just in the middle there, just going, taking hit up after hit up, tackling, giving you the same energy. He hadn't changed.
Come on! Release!
I scored a try and I was like, you know what, I'm going to end this on a good year. Because I already had a couple of fights that year as well. So I was training at MMA and having a couple of fights while I was playing rugby league.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that was
during
a lot
the
of training.
season?
Yeah, and still working, still concreting.
Really?
So yeah,
Jesus
so
Christ.
It was pretty full on. And I said, like halfway through the year, I think I'm going to take on MMA full on, and I'm going to give football away. A lot of my footy mates thought I was mad because I used to do okay at rugby league, but.
And now the man of the match in the grand final for 2011, number 10, Alex Volkanovski.
Alex soon had to pick between his two sports. If he had stuck with rugby, he likely would have been a solid player. But Alex knew safe choices don't lead to greatness. He had to take a risk.
You know, I wasn't at the highest level in rugby league yet. You know, I was 22, and that age, usually, you know, if you're not NRL, as that's the highest, if you're not in the NRL by like 22, you pretty much you ain't getting in, like sort of like that. But I knew I was never going to make it right to the top, and I'm a pretty competitive person, so I was like, I reckon I could give this MMA a crack.
While most fighters were learning to punch before they could even spell their own name, Alex was 22 before he even stepped into a gym.
He was just finishing up his football season, and then he wanted something else to do while he was training in his off season. And I said, come to the gym and give it a crack and see how you like it.
We had an open sparring day here, and I had a guy that had a couple of fights, a heavyweight. Alex hadn't had a spar yet.
Literally, I walk into the front door, haven't even walked in yet, and there was a guy from school who was a few years older than me. Like literally, as I was about to open the door, he opens it and goes, "What are you doing here? You'll get smashed." It's exactly the first thing that he said to me. So I went in there and I was like, oh yeah, I'll go spar. Like obviously Joe was like, oh, Alex hasn't really sparred before.
Yeah. Yep.
We'll let these other big guys go in because all these other guys are monsters. He goes, oh, we'll let these other guys. So while he was going getting his other fighter, like, you know, gloved up and all that, they've just called me in. And I've just went, oh, okay, sweet, whatever. So I've just went in. So that shows you how I deal with these situations. I'm like, yeah, whatever, okay, sweet.
Oh, man.
So we went in there and then Joe comes in ready to tell him, like, what are you doing? Like, why have you got this guy's, like, never sparred before?
The next minute, Alex has submitted this guy. And I'm going, wow. Then he submitted him again.
And after the spar, I said to him, man, you ever thought about having a fight? And he said, oh, man, it's always been a dream of mine to have a fight.
A month later, I had my first fight, and the rest is history. My first fight was a middleweight, so 85 kilograms. So I lost weight to make 85 kilograms. These guys were 6'3", you know what I mean? These guys were monsters. The David and Goliath type story, you know what I mean? I had plenty of those moments. All 4 of my amateur fights didn't even add up to 1 round. I'm competitive, man. I'm competitive. So my goal was always to get to the top and get there quick. I started late. Man, I've always loved martial arts. I always loved it, and I love the fact that, yeah, you're in there by yourself. You could play the best game of your life in, say, rugby league and still lose. Right. Yeah, you could do everything right, make thousands of meters, whatever it is.
Someone else f***s up.
Even it could be vice versa. I could play a bad game, we could win. But I love, you know, the fact that I'm such a hard worker, and, you know, I'm always putting the hours in the gym. You know, I'm so dedicated to this sport that, so if I lose in that cage, that's on me. Yes. You know what I mean? And I love that. I love the fact that, you know, if I am half-assing it, you know, in the gym, you're going to see that come fight time, and I've got no one else to blame but myself.
When did you have your first loss?
That was my 3rd fight. You know, he was a pound-for-pound number 1. Obviously, it was at welterweight this was, and, you know, it was very early in my career, and I should not have took that fight, but win a tournament. And I had him first, so I had the favourite straight up. And again, it was in a division I probably should never have been in.
Right.
But, you know, I took him on and, you know, I held my own, but, you know, things didn't go well. But it went a lot better for me after that, because I realised that he was too strong. So I thought I have to go, you know, down, or I have to start grappling as well. So that's when I actually started grappling after that. My coach was like, all right, you got controlled a bit too much in there. Let's just do jiu-jitsu for the next 3-4 months or whatever it is, just straight jiu-jitsu. I had a jiu-jitsu comp. I remember doing that jiu-jitsu comp, and I was on the podium. I ended up getting the gold. So I was on the first podium, they're on the 2nd and 3rd, and they're still taller than me. So these, you know what I mean? So can't get any better than the crown. Look at that. Ooh. The Hulk's out. I've done a name change at the last minute just before the big fight. You know, when I was getting close to fights, I was eating next to nothing. And yeah, like you just, when I say nothing.
Did you
like,
get sick a lot?
Yeah, 100%. You know, staph infections all the time and all that. Like it's. And the reason for this, you're probably thinking, what? For all the people that love the Hulk, it just obviously doesn't suit me. I'm a midget. I'm skinny. I'm not the big Hulk that I used to be when I was playing rugby league and stuff like that. So that's when it sort of started, the name, but now it's out. And what's in? Alexander the Great Volkanovski.
He was racking up wins, collecting belts, building a name. But the paychecks barely covered any bills. At $500 a fight 3 times a year, Alex was scraping by. All he was focused on was securing a UFC contract.
The UFC Championship main event. Jose Aldo Jr.
Calm, relaxed, smiling.
Oh! Deflected!
Conor McGregor is the new UFC featherweight champion of the world!
Oh, unbelievable!
I didn't do the football anymore, rugby league. I was still concreting for the first couple of years, but then we chose to chase a dream, and you know, which is a commitment. You know what I mean? So I end up because I had a house, and then we thought, well, like, let's rent it out. You know, we'll live at my mother's house, and like, you know, just, you know, put everything on hold, and you know, do whatever we can to just get through, and so I can at least chase a dream. And because even my wife, you know, she's sacrificing a lot as well. Like the last thing I want to be is a burden to anyone. Here I am being a burden to pretty much everyone, right? My mum, like, I'm living there, but it was tough. So I told myself, like, you know, I need to be in the UFC before my firstborn's, yeah? Before that happens, before I have my firstborn.
Yeah.
So that was something that a promise I made to myself. There was a time where I was like, you know, 10-fight win streak. You know, I had a lot of the national titles. I had world titles, you know, knockouts, everything that the UFC wanted, and we're doing campaign after campaign. It just wasn't happening. It was tough. And then I ended up having Ariana, which I made that promise, which stung me a lot. Like, that hurt me a lot, like knowing that, you know, that was a promise for me. And, you know, I like to keep my promises.
But to be part of the UFC, it takes a lot more. That's why the former Arilla footballer and his team have been strongly pushing a social media campaigns.
The UFC's a business, and that's what they want the people to talk. So if the people talk for me, you might be seeing me on the UFC. So yeah, please talk.
Hashtag sign Volkanovski set to be plastered on social media for all at the UFC to see.
That was a lot of pressure, and there's one thing that Joe will remember this as well. I don't ever miss training, and I'm pretty, you know, switched on. If I've got problems, I can switch them off pretty good. Then there was this one time, so this is the one time where I could say that wasn't the case. We had management companies that UFC asked for me. They thought that was my management. So they asked them to sign me.
Yeah, sign you up.
But because I wasn't signed with them, they said, oh no, he's matched up for this fight. Oh, but we got you this guy. So they literally, yes. So like they took literally a UFC contract away from not only me, my family. You know what I mean? You got to remember, this is more than just giving me a fight in the UFC. This is my life.
Yeah.
Man, what do I got to do? You know, Emma, the wife, was sort of like, she's been real supportive the whole time, but she was like, we can't just live here forever. You know, we're gonna have to move out again, go back to our place. So I was like, I'm gonna have to start working again, so I can't do this full time. I'm gonna be like, all right, is this the way? Do I need to give this up now?
Yeah.
Maybe I can't do this, you know what I mean? So they're the conversations you're having, because that's how you would solve that problem, right? So if you can't get in the UFC, we need to make money somewhere. And I was just like, you know what, I've had enough, that's it, I'm going. I just took off and went home. Never done that before. And even Joe rings me up and he's like, are you all right? You know, what's going on? Like, yeah, this was probably the lowest point in my career. And I'm like, oh yeah, no, I don't know what I even told you. I probably acted like, and I had to come. Yeah, I would have lied to him. but then it's just funny. So this is where, now there's a catch to this story. That weekend, I end up getting my major sponsor, like sort of just come out of nowhere and just said, oh, you want to do this? And then boom, there's a bit of money, which just made me be like, well, a bit of pressure off. I'm like, well, that's going to help. You know, if I do move home, I've got, you know, a bit of coin now to play with as well. And then the weekend after that, I got a UFC contract.
And the UFC
lightweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of Wollongong, Australia, Alexander the Great Volkanovski.
Nice takedown. Volkanovski with some killer ground and pound here. That's going to do it. Alexander Volkanovski. Alexander the Great Volkanovski. Big right hand. Too powerful.
A wipeout from top to bottom. This might be it.
Alexander the Great.
Big right hand. Elkins is down.
Alexander the Great has arrived.
Now it's my shot. Now I want someone in the top 5. Chad Mendes and me, main event. Let's do it.
Dapper as always, of course, sporting the bow tie. I got to ask, is that something you kind of rock in every day, or do you just save that for fight week?
Oh, give me a couple more fights and we get some money, then I can buy another suit. Maybe that's what it is.
The goal was always gold. But before any title shot, before any glory, he had to earn his spot. And standing in the way was his toughest test yet.
I always knew I was ready for the contenders. You know, who calls out Chad Mendes? You know, that was a fight that, you know, not many people thought was a good fight for me. But I mean, I knew if I asked for it, I'd get it. And, you know, I love being an underdog, so.
Trouble. He's just putting a lot of pressure on Mendes. Drilling to the body. He drops him. That's it. Huge. Wow.
We're back home.
And did it, baby.
Alexander the Great Volkanovski.
That's when people start really paying attention. That's when people are like, holy shit.
Well, before that, I wasn't even ranked.
Right.
And that's why I wanted that fight. Oh, no, I think I was ranked 10th maybe, sorry. So that's why I wanted that fight. You know, I knew if I took him on, that'll get me straight to, 5th rank. And then that's why I wanted to call out, Aldo after that, because I knew that'll put me in a position where I could, fight for a title.
Yeah.
Shoot for them ranks, as I always said.
Volkanovski's next move was a leap of faith. A shot at UFC legend, 9-time world champion Jose Aldo. But to stand a chance, talent wasn't enough. He needed a new environment, a more professional team, and higher level competition to elevate his game. So, he left to join Israel Adesanya at City Kickboxing in New Zealand. It was the change he needed to level up and get the edge on the biggest challenge of his career.
So as soon as I went over there to City Kickboxing, you really did start to see the level in my striking go up.
I can put it down to one key factor that's led to my success as a coach, and that's passion. What I enjoy most about coaching is the interaction with another human being who's been through the same thing that I've been through. I believe it's a big advantage to have been a fighter in the past. There's things that first-hand experience gives you that you just can't get any other way. The experiences that I'm able to draw from make me more knowledgeable with the information that I'm passing on. I don't have a standard approach for every fighter that I have, because I know that each individual is so different. I have to know what drives them. I have to know the reasons that they're fighting. I have to know what they're going through in their life at that particular time. And I have to tailor my approach to that. From the moment we walk out, my senses become real highly sensitive, and I see everything and take everything in. It's not so much about the instruction at that point, it's just about them hearing a familiar voice.
Go to the body bump! Go to the body
Having him around makes me have to step my game up. So I don't think Aldo's felt anything like that yet. He hasn't felt anything like he has yet.
I'm one of the most well-rounded. I put it together better than anyone in the division. I'm Max Holloway's worst nightmare.
I'm next in line, 100%. I'm the only one who's undefeated in the top 3 now. I should be ranked number 1. Let's set it up, yeah? I wouldn't mind being on the same card in Australia. That'll be a cracker of a card. Let's make it happen.
With a perfect record in the UFC, Volkanovski had cleaned out everyone in front of him. And the only thing standing between him and the belt was arguably the featherweight GOAT, Max Holloway.
I just gotta say, is there anyone else? Step forward, let's go!
could pick anyone, is Max the guy you'd want to win the title from?
Yeah, it is. You know what I mean? Not only he's the champion, and now he's arguably the GOAT. I hope I'm underdog. I hope I'm underdog by a long shot. Because, there's people saying, doubting and all that, and I love proving them wrong. I've proved them wrong the last couple of times. Chad Mendes, how's he going to fight a guy like Chad Mendes? And then even Aldo. Aldo's made his career off guys like Alex. So they're going to say all these things. And these same people are saying the same thing about Max, but they don't realise that me being in the octagon is so much bigger than me being in the octagon, winning a belt for myself. I win it for my family. I win it for my teammates, friends. Then I win it for my community. Australia, the list goes on. I do it for them. My upbringing, my background, my heritage, my rugby league days, all these experiences has made me who I am.
And too close to call.
Alexander Volkanovski and Max Holloway go the distance.
What a fight. What a fight.
And new, baby. And new.
I have no idea who won the fight.
Winner by unanimous decision and new undisputed UFC featherweight champion of the world, Alexander the Great Volkanovski.
Obviously, man, he's one of the GOATs. I've took out two of the GOATs back to back, you know what I mean? That puts me right up there.
That belt means so much more than just me being a UFC champion. So much can come off this, you know what I mean? Like, again, I want to be successful. This is the career path I chose. The belt right now, that's going to help me be successful, but it ain't going to be enough. I need to keep defending. I want to be in a pound for pound number one. I want to be the GOAT of my division. I want all these other goals I'm going to keep conquering. Then after that, the goals keep continuing.
Oh, we did it, yeah! Covington in a world of trouble here. That is it, and
At the end of the day, this is mixed martial arts. There's only three guys that matter that night, only three guys, and those two guys sound the opposite way of me, and it is what it is, I'm not gonna get mad. There's nothing I can get mad about, if Burt Watson always said, the great Burt Watson, don't leave that to judges, they only make you cry, baby. So, hey, the dude is right.
Again, I think he's just quite salty about the whole thing, to be honest. It's quite surprising. I didn't think he would be a bit of a sore loser, but that's sort of my take on it. Obviously, I'm using it as motivation.
And your main event here on UFC.
This is the best of the best. You got to evolve with the sport or you get left behind. So the second one, I had to change, and we did. I hit him with some good shots, dropped him a bunch of times.
With frequency.
He definitely came with a new game plan that caught us by surprise, which was a credit to him and his team. The third round, we knew that we had to step it up. So mid-fight, I had to just completely change my style to counter his adjustment.
The determination of Volkanovski, though, he's really turned up the pressure the second half of this fight. Numbers very close across the board.
The rematch was just as close, but once again, Volkanovski found a way.
I thought I did enough. The owner of the company thought I did enough. The world thought I did enough. But the three judges sitting octagon side went the other way.
Alex was cooking. Literally.
And that's how it's done, Rob. What's happening, guys? Another episode of Cooking with Volk. I'm just gonna put a little bit of oil. Let's get that on. Hear that sizzle? Perfect. So what I want, I'm gonna flatten it just a little bit more. So I'm gonna get a bit of everything. Got a bit of the egg. That looks real good. Mmm.
Volkanovski's getting so much work done because of the feints. Ortega doesn't know when it's coming. He has to be able to disrupt them. Oh! Knockdown for T-City. Oh, he's on the net.
No one got me anywhere near as tight as Ortega did. He found the perfect position.
Dude, the way he slipped it in and got mount. Like, I wish people could see how beautiful that is the way I see it.
And for him to even jump on it, I remember doing it and I was about to bounce up, and next minute I'm like, oh, I'm in the choke.
That's tight. Oh my goodness, it's tight.
Obviously, tapping was just never an option. Even go to sleep was never an option. It was like, find a way. So I was just trying to find a way, pushing on the hips and doing what I needed to do.
All this is trouble for Volkanovski.
I was doing that and it wasn't working. It was either his arms are going to gas out or I'd die. It went from chaos to started going very silent and the lights started dimming. There's no fucking way. There's no way he's taking this belt away from my family. It was like that type of moment.
I was on top celebrating. I'll be honest with you. I was in there and I had him in that guillotine and I was just like, I'm about to be a world champ. Like, I swear to, I was just waiting for the tap.
The grip is breaking. Whoa! Wow!
So the lights are still coming back to me and then I'm already thinking, he's gassing. Yeah, most people be like, oh, give me a second. I'm like, I'm going to get up and punch you in the head so hard.
Now he's just beating them up. Oh my goodness.
One of the best title rounds you will see.
People ask me like, oh, what type of fighter you are? Just watch that. Watch that little piece. That's who I am.
He's one of the most champions in the history of the sport. All he wants to do is seek and destroy and to break men.
That'll do it.
Ooh, that's another one there by the champ.
I mean, his face is a mess. I mean, we've never seen Holloway this busted up before. This is not a close fight.
In the trilogy fight, Volkanovski didn't just win.
Oh my goodness, and now he's pouring it on.
He put on a masterclass against Max. It was dominant from start to finish, leaving no doubts.
What now, he says to the broadcast booth?
Nothing.
Nothing.
That's a good question.
We ain't got nothing for him. If he can do that to Max Holloway, like, who's next?
Who is next?
I feel top of the world. I feel on top of my world. Top of the world. Told you I'm on another level. Max is one of the best, and look what I've done with him.
He wasn't just the king of featherweight anymore. Now, Volkanovski sat at the top of the pound-for-pound list, the best in the world.
I put myself through the walls. It ain't easy. It's not easy at all. It's hard work. And, people are like, oh, do you love it? You don't love it. Like, you know what I mean? I think Mike Tyson said it best.
I mean, discipline is doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it. Okay, first of all, you see how good Volkanovski really is.
Pound for pound.
Animal.
Yeah.
He's number one pound 100%. For pound.
When he TKO'd Jose Aldo twice, people were saying that he's the greatest 145er they've ever seen. You've gone 3-0 against him. Volk, are you the greatest featherweight of all time at this moment?
That's not up to me. Okay. That's not up to me. But again, we've got absolute legends in this sport that, you know what I mean? So I'm not trying to take anyone's glory away from them, but not many people are doing what I'm doing. I'll leave it at that.
But being the best wasn't enough. Volkanovski wanted greatness. So he set his sights on Islam Makhachev, the scariest challenge the sport had to offer.
Now is our plan. Fly to Australia and fight in pound-for-pound king backyard with Volkanovski. Let's do it.
Hey, the lightweight round number one on the line. Let's do it.
A super fight for the ages between the top two pound-for-pound fighters in the world. Oh! Big stick with a left hand by Volkanovski. Volk's got to be careful. And now he drops Volkanovski. Volk hits the floor with one knee. What a way to start the mega fight.
And he's really picking up the pace now.
That's nice. Oh!
Counter left hand over the top.
Oh, that's how you time a takedown.
Oh, he tripped him. He dropped him in the right.
Volkanovski trying to seal the deal, become a two-weight division champion.
I thought Volk pulled it off. No, Volkanovski did amazing, but Islam won the fight.
The entire world is arguing over who won.
He was hanging on for dear life.
Minimum, I won 3 rounds.
The reality is, it was a close fight.
He didn't get the second belt, but his stocks had never been higher. Volk walked away bigger than ever.
The whole thing, right? Me moving up, challenging myself, wanted to, have my moment in Australia. Haven't been in Australia, fought in Australia for how long? I haven't been able to do that. And then, have a fight like that, finish like I did, and then think like, we're going to have this moment, right? Like, let's do it. I was ready for it, and it just taken away from me. So I was pretty disappointed with that. Everyone was like congratulating me, I was like sitting there going,
lost. What do you mean? Like, you can't, you know, they're going, yeah, but that's bullshit, you know, you wonder it.
You still want that fight?
Because I want to challenge myself. Yeah. I want to make myself better, and I know I will, and it did. It definitely, I did obviously rise to the occasion. It made me better, made me stronger, and again, I'll get that win back, and it's going to add to that story.
Nearly 4 years, Alexander Volkanovski looks to continue his case as the greatest featherweight of all time when he faces Jair Rodriguez. Still in his prime, the pound-for-pound king.
The best featherweight that the sport has ever seen.
That'll do it, Alexander Volkanovski.
Fresh off another win, Volkanovski was getting comfortable, enjoying the longest break of his career. Then, the phone rang.
So who called you? My manager, Ash, and he's like, ain't gonna believe it. He goes, doesn't look like Charles is gonna make it. Something's going wrong.
Is Charles Oliveira out of his fight with Islam, and is Alex Volkanovski in?
Yes. One phone call, he jumps in and he accepts the fight.
You do your part. I'll call up the boys and get the guys that like Craig and Frank. They were literally on the next flight over from Austin and Thailand, and then I had all my teammates at Freestyle Fighting Gym who were literally a couple hours after I got the phone call at the gym putting me through a fight simulator.
He comes in as a late replacement to do probably the most anticipated rematch ever. This is the type of stuff that makes you great.
Have I been on holidays? Yeah. Have I had a couple of drinks here and there? Yeah, I have. But I'm the man for the job. If anyone can do it, if anyone can do this on 12 days' notice, off the couch, as they would say, it's me.
The question beckons, without a training camp, can Alexander Volkanovski do enough to become a simultaneous two-division champion? Oh! That'll do it! And still!
One head kick ended the fight, but the real damage came after, when Volkanovski opened up about the fight he'd been hiding all along.
When I was in the clinic, I wasn't trying to train for that. Just drinking every day. Literally drank every day. And then I thought this was a fight, this was it. This is why I thought that was the reason why I came. Now I just feel stupid.
Obviously, a lot of people will say it's for the money and all that, but it was much more than that. Like, you know what I mean? It is hard. Like, it really is hard for athletes. Sorry. I never thought I'd struggle with it, but I mean, like, for some reason, when I wasn't fighting or in camp, I just do my head in, you know what I mean? I needed a fight, and then this opportunity come up, and again, going in, I told you guys, I made a promise to you guys that I'm going to let these hands go, and I did completely opposite. So, sorry about that. It is a game. I got caught. Full credit to Islam. He's a great champion. Two things that are most important to me: my family and my career, right? That's how I look after my family. They're my two purposes in life. Providing for my family, and how I do that is my fighting. And I'm in my prime, and it's sometimes you put a bit of pressure because I know that I need to make the most of me in my prime, because who knows how my days are numbered. When I'm in camp, it's there's a specific, all right, it's direction. I know exactly what's happening. It's easy when it comes to that, and I'm still very present at home. I'm my most happiest. I'm probably even better dad when I'm in camp, because I'm ticking all the boxes. I still stand by that decision. I still stand by that because I believe in myself all the time, and I think people should challenge themselves. I've been a big believer. I've been a big advocate of people challenging themselves and putting themselves in these positions. Yeah, high risk, high reward. I'm a big believer in that, and I was chasing greatness. I just ask the UFC to just keep me busy, because I need to be keeping busy. I need to be in camp. Otherwise, I'm going to do my head in. So, that's I'll leave it at that.
35-year-old Alexander Volkanovski coming off of a KO loss. Now he's got to cut to featherweight to fight Ilia Topuria, who has an added 3 months onto his training camp that he already would have had. Now Ilia has more time. Ilia is going to get more experience in the gym. 35 years old. He's out here doing side quests like it don't matter. What a terrible decision.
Volkanovski too old. I'll make a headline out of anything these days, huh? It's ridiculous.
What's going to happen Saturday?
I'm gonna take his lights out in the first round.
First question for Alex.
You know, most of your opponents in the past have, said that they could beat you, but they offered you a lot of respect. Ilya hasn't really offered you that respect.
Don't even compare me with his past opponents.
Well, what do you make of it? What do you make of that energy that he's bringing? That
Shut
lack
the
of.
up,
What do you make of
everybody.
that?
Shut the Shut up, everybody. Shut up.
I think this old man needs to teach this young fella a lesson. What do you reckon?
Hey, you see how he came dressed? You already know what's gonna happen. You just came ready for the retirement. Look how you look.
Tonight is the night we find out if Ilia Topuria has what it takes to dethrone the decorated, long-reigning Australian champion.
McQueen! Man, he just got the lead! What? Can he hold on to it?
Nice inside leg kick from Volkanovski early.
He's starting to wear it a little bit upstairs as well.
Hey, McQueen, you all right? Listen, don't you worry, pal. You had a good run. Enjoy your retirement.
Oh! Ooh, very strong low kick. There's another strong calf kick. Volkanovski might be having a problem.
Storm takes back the lead. Unbelievable! McQueen is fading! McQueen is fading! Fading fast!
Volk every time. If Topuria throws an overhand, that could be the lights out for him, so he's got to be careful as he backs out.
Oh, big right hand from Topuria.
The unthinkable happened. A fall from grace that no one saw coming.
So the whole world that you live in, you go from being the best pound-for-pound fighter on earth, the f***ing man, to just months later, you're not even the best in your division anymore. The best guy in your division just knocked you unconscious, and now he has your belt, and he's 10 years younger than you.
Accepted reality. I'm going to gracefully accept that this title reign, this Volkanovski era, is coming to an end.
After everything that happened, Volk returned with one mission: to make the biggest comeback in UFC history.
Alex Volkanovski will be taking on number 3 ranked Diego Lopez for the vacant UFC featherweight title.
He stepped back into the cage with a vengeance, determined to rewrite the narrative.
Volkanovski did land a spinning back fist. That slightly bruised Lopez.
Oh, he stung him. Beautiful counter left there by Volk. Holy
There it is!
And now, undisputed UFC featherweight champion of the world, Alexander the Great Volkanovski!
Man, a lot of people counted me out, right? Coming off 2 knockout losses, the 35-year-old curse, 36 years old, big break, and come back and beat a gun
like Diego Lopez. It's good to be back for everyone watching. Hey, adversity is a privilege. You hear people talk about that all the time. It truly is. This moment is incredible. Well, it's an opportunity. You get adversity. If you build yourself back, it's only going to make you stronger, even if it doesn't work out. But a lot of times it does, if you really pursue it. And look what can happen. Break records. This people are going to write books about. There's going to be movies, you know what I mean? Like that type of that's what it's all about.